Between school, your friends, and social media, answers are everywhere, but where can you find the truth? Welcome to the Well StudentCast. We're asking for a friend so you don't have to.
What up, guys? Welcome to the Well StudentCast. My name is Ka'eo, and I'm here with my friend, Brynn.
What's up, party people? We are back at the Well StudentCast asking questions for a friend so you don't have to. And today's a very special episode where we are commemorating the end of our senior year graduation time for the class of 2024. We have two of our graduates representing today. Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hey guys, my name is Jenna and I am a senior at Fresno Christian and I'm here with my friend
Wyatt, and I am also a senior at Fresno Christian.
Let's go.
They just took our... So you guys graduated, now you guys are the hosts of the Well StudentCast.
That was perfect.
Totally.
But you guys you're graduating.
Yeah, you did. For you guys,
crazy.
how many more weeks of school do you guys have left?
6 days.
Jake's like counting down.
We have 6 days.
We're like in the middle of class and Jake's like, I think this is 8 days and like 6 hours. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
We got 6 days left.
So you're feeling ready.
Yeah, he's definitely ready.
Yes.
He's ready for sure.
So ready.
That's wild. Oh my gosh. Well, okay. So what are some of the things you're looking forward to then? Says it sounds like we're ready to go.
Yeah. We got senior trip coming up.
Senior trip's going to be super fun.
Yeah. Some Disneyland.
That's exciting.
Summer, just, swimming, having fun with friends. And then
Swimming is like top tier for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you play mermaids?
What?
Jake?
I play pirates, Brynn. I don't play mermaids.
Yeah. He's a merman, not a mermaid.
Come on, Brynn. And then college, just like next season, all that stuff. It's just so much like
It's
great
here.
stuff. It's so here. Yeah.
Do you guys know where you're going for school?
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to Fresno Pacific in the fall and I'll be playing soccer there. So I'm so excited.
Man, that's so cool.
So excited.
Yeah, and I'm going down south to Cal Baptist, Riverside.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm so
cool.
excited.
It's very
Plans
exciting.
up.
Well, I'm sad that you won't be here anymore, but that's really cool and exciting for you guys.
I'll send mail. Okay.
Please send mail. Please send mail. It's my
We're going to
favorite
stop
thing.
talking about it because I'm just still in denial that that's happening. But you guys, what would you say? Or can you just speak into like what your experience was with the church in high school? Like what did community look like? Were you guys involved in the church? What was that like for you?
Yeah. So I've always been a part of the Well. My family and I have been here for forever, but I started going here in middle school, and then I took a little bit of a break in 8th grade, and I came back my freshman year.
Hiatus.
And it was the best decision coming back here. The Well and just WSM has just been super impactful for me these last 3.5 years. I met my life group here, which are some of my like best friends. I met my mentor and my other 2 life group leaders, which are like they're a mix between like brothers and dads and like those annoying friends. You know what I mean? Like it's like the best. And obviously being a part of like student leadership here. Getting to go to the Dominican Republic through WSM and just all of the great stuff. It's been just a huge blessing.
Yeah.
That's cool. What about you, Jenna?
Yeah, I've always been kind of in the church. My dad's worked at the church. So I think involvement over the years has looked different, like being in student leadership, not being in student leadership. But I think going to youth group and even just finding different ways to serve has been like a big staple in my just years over the years, but especially high school. And I think youth group's just been such a blessing. And I think the girls in the like community that I've found through like you were saying, life group leaders, like those are people that are committed to you and they're committed to your growth. And so I think it's been so cool to see my life group grow, like different people are coming in and out and see kind of how that's fluctuated. But I think, it's just been so good.
That's really cool. You guys both kind of hit on like this thing of life groups. So the listeners might not know what a life group is if they're not part of like our context of a church. So could you explain a little bit more like what was your life group about? Why was it so impactful? You said that several times.
Yeah, so they kind of split us up by grade and then gender. So girls are with girls, guys are with guys. And then you're assigned a leader who's like an adult an adult.
Who's like an adult.
Yeah, who's like an adult. They could be an adult or like an adult. And they're just committed to kind of the group of people that you've created. And they show up every week. They check in with you and they're in your life as a person you can lean on, who you can come to. And I think life groups has just been so special because I think over the years, vulnerability's grown and the community's grown. So it looks a lot different. Yeah. I think starting, you're like, oh gosh, like we share some stuff, but not a whole lot of stuff. But I think I've seen like it takes patience, I think a lot of the time. And then just being willing to kind of step out and be like, this is super uncomfortable, but like I'm going to share something. And I think you can just see how that really affects and changes, like, no, we're actually here for each other. And it's a space with people that you're doing life with over time, where you can just grow closer to each other, but also point each other to the Lord. So
That's really cool.
And something I like about that you mentioned is like, we're not just with this group for like a short period of time. I mean, for some of the seniors that joined the groups, like we're so thankful that they were able to join. But like for some of us, it's like, I've been with this group since my freshman year and I've been able to grow, and we added a leader my sophomore year. And then it's been really cool to just see the group grow. And you don't stay with them for a short period of time.
Yeah.
They're with you through those 4 years of high school. And that's awesome. They go to your sporting events. They hang out with you on those Saturday nights. It's just a great group, and it's just a great way to build community centered around Christ.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You guys both kind of mentioned that like over time relationship building idea. For you guys, was there ever a point in high school where you're like, this is hard and it doesn't feel worth it right now? Or that it was kind of this like more of a disciplined season? And how did kind of you see the Lord move through continuing to show up, or like how did you enter in during those seasons?
Yeah. So I had a life group, and I actually broke the rules, and I joined a life group where they were all seniors and I was a junior. You might remember that, Ka'eo?
I do remember
so
this
special.
conversation.
I know, right? And they ended up graduating, and I was kind of stuck behind with my leaders and like one or two other guys that were also breaking the rules with me.
I remember.
And so coming into my senior year, I did kind of hit that wall of just like, I don't want to like keep like honestly showing up and trying to like continue to build relationships with people. And I think it took a lot of prayer, and it took a lot of time talking with my leaders. JJ, Hudson, Sawyer, shout out guys. Like they really like pulled me through that. And they're like, hey Jake, we really appreciate the time that we had with that old life group, but there's senior guys that are your age that are showing up that we still need to be there for. Yeah. And also Jake, like it's your senior year. Like you can still get stuff out of this year. Yeah. You know, you didn't graduate, you have another year left. So I think God really helped pull me through that. And this has actually been one of my best years. Like I've enjoyed the life group. I've enjoyed the company and just the memories that I've built.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, I was in a different life group, like starting back in the day in 516. Fun times. But in 516 and then going through like middle school, I was in a life group, and then it kind of just fell apart. Like our leader left, moved away, and then some of the girls like moved as well. And so I switched life groups like heading into high school. And I think I was pretty nervous just that they had been together for a long time. And I was kind of coming in, new leaders, new people kind of being around. And I think it did take a little bit of time to like build that feeling normal. But I think slowly it's just been really great. And I think you kind of have to keep in mind that like it's gonna, like you're in high school, it's gonna adapt. People are gonna come, people are gonna go. But like as much as you can be consistent and as much as you can put into it, I think you'll see the most come out of it in that way. But I think you kind of have to hold it with an open hand of like, this might not look exactly how I think it's going to, because people are, doing their own lives. They're moving, things are out of their control as well. So yeah, I think it was like a little bit of a different season, but I think just through high school, it's been such a blessing with these girls. So yeah.
That's really cool. Statistically, I really appreciate how you guys kind of shared those things and just really highlight the value, like what it means to be plugged into a life group community. Statistically, when seniors or when students reach their senior year, I know you know this. There are so many things that pull at you, to where it's like you'd feel the pressure of like, I need to be at all these things, right? So I think for our listeners, it'd be really cool to hear just like, but you guys still are here. You guys still showed up on Wednesday nights or were active in, our youth ministry. What was that like? Was it beneficial at all? Did it get hard at all? Like in your mind, was it worth it? Like looking back now, being like, hey, at the end of my senior year, like, was it worth it to still be tethered to this group, even though I had so many things pulling at me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's so much going on in your senior year that like, first and foremost, seniors, like get a calendar because it's going to save your life.
Wow. Okay.
Like it is. That's just my little, like, get a calendar.
Practical tips with Jake.
Yeah.
Right?
If you don't take anything away from this, guys.
Yeah, get a calendar. Okay, but like there's so many things going on senior year, and they're all good things.
Yeah.
They're great things. And so like having student ran nights or having like Wednesdays or leadership meetings, whatever it may be involved in like WSM, I had to think like, hey, like I got so much out of this, like maybe my sophomore year. Like imagine like the time that I put into this sophomore year, what I got out of that. And even though I have all these other things pulling at me senior year, college, you know, graduation, all these like next big steps, I can still get stuff out of, you know, showing up to these meetings, you know, still keeping in contact with these people. And so I think for me, it was like, hey, it's like, ooh, I'll just show up to this next Wednesday and just see what I get out of it. Wow, that was like, life group time was really great. I got to go next week again. It just kept feeding off. And I was like, wait, this is still my home. Even if I have, you know, X amount of days left, and time's running up, like I can still get the most out of this that I was getting my sophomore year. So, and it's been awesome to see how that's played out in these last couple of months. Yeah,
for sure. I think heading into my senior year, I knew that it was just going to be a lot with school and church and all of the sports and all the things. And I think heading into it, I was trying to focus on like, what does it look like for me to be present in my senior year? Like there's a lot of things, like you were saying, pull at you. There's a lot of things that are needing your attention. And I think it is easy to kind of get lost in all of that and kind of do things halfway and not be super focused when you're serving or whatever that looks like. And so I think I've tried to just think of like, whether it's showing up to youth group or student leadership or whatever it is, of like looking back on my senior year specifically, like I want to know that I was dedicated to the things I care about. I was like, was I spending more time, whatever, at my home doing who knows what? Or like, was I showing up to youth group? Was I like, I want to be a type of senior and a type of leader that like when I was an underclassman was like, oh, they're using their time to serve and they're using their time to like be an example to us. And so I think that's something that I've tried to keep in mind of, even like with schoolwork or whatever that is, of like, what am I prioritizing? And I think I've found that prioritizing youth group and church in general has been just such a great use of my time and something that, like we were talking about reaping and sowing on Wednesday, of like, if you're sowing into youth group, like I've reaped so much from that and been blessed by all of the people there so much. And I think it's just something that I've dedicated to put time and put effort into. And I think it's really paid off in that way. So, yeah.
I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool encouragement too of like, hey, it's still worth it. It matters. Because even in my own life too, like there are days when we have busy seasons. I'll speak for myself. I have busy seasons too, where I'm like, wait, no, but you know, church is still important. I still need to show up to a gathering, be part of community. Don't get focused so much on the work and forget the people or like, you know, presence of God kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I think to hear you guys be like, hey, I continued to show up and made that a priority, that's preparing you for this next season of college and stuff. And I feel like what we see so often is senior year students are like, maybe I like feel like I've outgrown youth group, or like I'm just so busy with all the senior things, but losing that practice and then going off to their next season, and then it's not a part of routine, and they almost like forget to get plugged into a new church because it's been out of practice for so long. And so for you guys, I think it's cool to see you've prepared yourselves for this next season to be like, no, I know what it's like to be in community. I'm going to find that in whatever the next season is.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really good actually. I was like just really curious, like for you guys, like you talked about like you know, like being there, investing in, or like Jenna, you kind of mentioned like I want to be like the leader or whatever that I've like you know, I've seen before. I wish I had to. Like there have been a lot of underclassmen who like look at our senior class and been like, dang, they still chose Jesus. And for some of you, I think my question for you guys is just like, were there people in your life like during your like years in WSM where you're like, hey, those people, their senior year, they got it. I want to model or look like. Does that make sense? What I'm asking, you know?
Yes, it does. I think Jenna and I kind of got spoiled as underclassmen because there was just like such a great group of leaders and just kids that were involved in the ministry, and they set the example. Like they set the bar of just what it meant to first off be like followers of Christ. Showing up on Wednesdays, reaching out to their peers, and then also to the like lower classmen too. It's one thing to be a senior and be a leader and only be involved with kids your age, or only be involved with like the leaders and you know, Brynn and Ka'eo. But it's another thing to reach down to the lower classmen and be like, hey, like you're a part of this too. This isn't just like the seniors and the juniors. This is also the freshmen and the sophomores.
Yeah, for sure. I think my sister's in the grade above me, so I've seen their grade and how they interact for years, and I think last year especially, I think I saw their senior class step up in a way of like, oh dang, that's what it looks like to serve not only those on student leadership, but I think all of the seniors were like, no, we're going to show up every Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we're going to be involved and we're going to like serve our community as well and show up at school and glorifying Christ in that way. And so I think them graduating, I was a little nervous for our class. I was like, oh shoot, like, is this going to go well? But I think over the year I think our class has stepped up, and I think just with more people coming and showing up in really cool ways of, I think, towards the end, we're like beginning to show like what it looks like to just be present and lead at youth group. And show kind of like bonding per class in that way.
And it was because we had that class before us and the two classes before us that set the bar and just kind of set that example for us to follow.
For sure.
Have you ever seen, because even in hearing that, like I remember kind of that anticipation of like, man, the class of us just graduated. And I feel like we witnessed your class kind of be like either on one day, like, we're going to rise up and we're going to like stay involved. And then the next to be like, we're going to quit.
Class of 24.
This might not go well.
But I'm just curious, like for you guys, how did you see kind of like your own expectations either hinder your like investment or kind of like push you to invest more? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Yeah, it does. It does. I had zero expectations going into this year, kind of like I shared earlier. I didn't think I had a life group coming into this, and I kind of was mentally checked out. Yeah. And so we went to Hume Lake over the summer, and there was like 20 guys that showed up, and they were all old friends that I knew their faces, and it was awesome. And we just clicked, and I was like, wait, is this what this year's gonna be like? And it was. Like they would show up on Wednesdays. Yeah. They joined our student leadership team, and they became this like brotherhood. And it completely exceeded my expectations. I didn't think I was going to have a life group. I thought I was just going to hang out with my life group leaders and we'd all go get Sonic after, right? Like I thought that's what life group was going to be. And all of a sudden I have this brotherhood of these guys where now it's like, there was talk back in December of like, dude, like what if we have to split up the group? Because there's so many guys and it was awesome. Thankfully we didn't have to. But this year has exceeded my expectations, and that motivated me to keep showing up on Wednesdays. Because I'm like, wait, there's like this community of my boys that I gotta show up for. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I think like right before heading into the school year, my life group was like you were saying, a little smaller. You're like, oh gosh, like let's see how this goes. But I think in the same way, like a lot of people from our grade joined this year, which is like it fluctuates. It just kind of depends. I think just girls that were new, but they were dedicated to being consistent in coming to youth group. And I think that was so cool to see of like, I've been around my whole life and like, yes, I'm going to come to youth group, but also like I've had a foundation over the years of like just being kind of ingrained in the well. But I think it was so cool to see so many new people being like, no, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to like give this year my all in. And just really be dedicated to creating the culture of the youth group, being really healthy. And so I think like you were saying, like I loved showing up to life group. Like it was just such a healthy environment, and people who are willing to share and people who are willing to listen. And I think it was a lot of new faces, but it was all really, really good.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And this is like a blessing that Jen and I have been able to experience over these years of being able to show up and be a part of this and being able to like let other people also get in on this blessing. Like these new faces, these seniors. I think I was just talking with some of my buddies and I'm like imagine if we joined if they joined sophomore year. Yeah. But the thing about that is like we focus on that too much, then like we're not. It's like what Ka'eo was saying. It's like then you're not actually enjoying the moment,
right?
And it's like, guys, we still got 3 more weeks. Let's enjoy these last 3 weeks, right?
I love how you just said like you guys have experienced this blessing, and like now that you're like excited that other people are experiencing that too, and that's such the heart of these groups to be like. Not just take at youth group, like not just in any environment, not just be, we talked about this at Wednesday night, like not just be takers and be like, okay, like I need this environment. Right. I need this community. Yeah. I need this message or encouragement, but to be like, man, the Lord is like encouraging me through this and bringing community, bringing mentors. And like, I want to share that blessing with other people. Yeah. Those are things I think so often we forget, like the things that you guys are experiencing or entering into in a youth group setting, that is like practice for the rest of your life as a believer to say like, how can you enter in this next environment and be willing to give and like find other people to invite into that process. Right. Yeah. I guess my kind of like last question for you guys. I'm like, oh, my last question. I'll see you tomorrow. But as you guys kind of like close this chapter of youth group at the Well, what would you say would be an encouragement to someone who's maybe that freshman, sophomore, who's like, man, I know I've been told youth group, life group, community, walking with the Lord in high school is important. You guys are finishing high school and able to say like, not perfectly, but man, you guys walked with the Lord through high school. And that's huge. But for you guys kind of to talk to a freshman, sophomore being like, I hear people tell me that's important, but I also hear the messages of this world. Yeah. What do you say to that person?
I would say it's kind of just like what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. And I think, like anything else you're going to do, it's something that it can be so good if you're just willing to put in the time and you're willing to commit to it. And I think I've seen in my life, like what it looks like if I'm present at youth group and what it looks like if I'm not. And I think you can go, like if your parents are making you go or whatever, and just check the box and you're not connected and you're not really communing with people, you're not growing close to the Lord. But I think when you're willing to enter in, I've seen so much change and transformation in my life just over the past 4 years. And it doesn't even need to be serving in big ways or being involved in big ways, but I think it's just showing up and really making the most of your time because it goes really fast.
It's crazy how fast it goes. It's really fast. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I think it can be really such a blessing. And I think there's so much great community and great practices, like you were saying, of showing up like, I'm going to take that into the next years of my life of I know how to make community now and I know how to foster into other people's lives because it's a concentrated environment of, no, we're going to practice this in life groups and we're going to practice this in like deconstructing messages. And I would say like, put your all in, serve, be involved because it's so worth it.
Awesome. It is worth it. I've kind of got two things on this question. The first one I heard from this, I heard this really funny saying, there's two things that you can't do alone, which is get married and be a Christian. And for, I'm not worried about the first one right now, but obviously the second one, shout out Bradley, but like the second one is like, you can't be a Christian alone. And so community is so important. And that's what this is.
Yeah.
It's not just it's not a party. It's not, we're not just sitting down taking notes the entire time. It's a community where we get to hear the word of God and we get to share that with others. And this is where Jenna and I have found like our communities at, right? Yeah. It's here at WSM. Yeah. Number two, the hesitation that I had first coming here was that I thought I had to be perfect to show up. And we've taught this here a lot. It's like you don't have to be perfect to show up to youth group. You won't be perfect because no one's perfect, right? And so that's, as a freshman Jake thought that he had to be perfect to show up, which is why he didn't show up for a long time. And his friend dragged him there, and it ended up being like one of his best decisions because Jake learned that Jake will never be perfect. Sorry, I'm talking about myself in the third person. That was super weird.
I think it's cool though.
It was very good.
Okay. So like I thought that I had to be perfect. Yeah. And I realized that I'm not perfect and that there is a gift that God has given us, and that's his son. And that's what I was able to learn by showing up. So super thankful for WSM and just everything it's meant to me. Yeah.
That's awesome. I am really encouraged by what you guys shared, because I think that's always our goal, that this, it doesn't matter where it is, but just that you would find a community you felt belonged in, and that community pointed you to Christ. Like every time you walked away from that community, you said, I knew Jesus better, and that's what I got to hear right now, which is incredible. I think that's a longing for all of our hearts to be a part of a place like that. I have to ask though, like these are all like really good things for the soul, but like God also created fun. Do you guys have like a fun memory? Like one that you're like, you know what? I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life. I'm sure you have a lot, but like, what's like one fun memory if it's gonna embarrass someone, don't use their names, but like, if there's, what's one fun thing from your time that you remember?
I've got like 4, but I'll say like 2.
Okay, yeah.
I mentioned like going to Hume, and my life group actually won Hume Rec this year, which was such a huge moment. But even bigger than Hume is that we won Spring Showdown 3 years in a row.
Bigger than Hume. I've succeeded at my job.
Brynn got his hats, and it was so awesome. Yeah, it was pretty special just winning that. Me and my life group leaders, that was year number 3, and that was
Yes.
pretty special.
That's
They're just,
incredible.
yeah, it was fun.
3 Peters, come on now.
Come on.
And
Let's go.
all of the freshmen through juniors said amen that life group's
Yes.
graduating.
Yeah, right? They're like,
get
they're like,
out
they're
of
like, "Peace
here
out,
so we
y'all.
can
The
win."
Goodbye.
Thank the Lord. I would say for me, I think Hume's always been a highlight, and I think like all all the students that come for us, it's a lot, but it's so fun. And I think last Hume, not this past year, but the year before, we went mattress surfing on this in the skate park with the
No, we
seniors,
didn't.
and we were juniors. Nobody needs to know about this, but it was so fun. And I think it was like showed just like the bonding between the grades of like, no, this is so fun, and we're all kind of in this together, and so lots of good times.
So much fun.
Hume
Sweet.
no, I did not take girls mattress surfing.
Yeah, Brynn wasn't there. Brynn actually ran away, but that's fine.
That was a really humbling moment in leadership.
Yeah,
We did abandon the girls.
she did.
When it ended up being Carson Selsler, who
Yes.
was the one that was walking up with a flashlight or something. But it was really bonding. We
was
ran up
really-
hills carrying
It
mattresses.
was really bonding.
If you want to see Brynn drink Red Bull for a week straight and then lose her voice, you guys should go to Hume.
Pull
this
up to
summer.
Hume.
Like, please.
Pull
it's
up.
awesome.
Yes.
It's the
good.
best.
I like talk on walkies like,
Yeah. Last day, Brynn is a whole new person.
Honestly,
yeah, it
yes.
is. It is.
Whole new.
Well, we obviously can talk to them for a long time, and it
can.
actually
Yeah.
unlocked a lot of memories.
I
for
know, I'm
me
like, wait,
about
let's
this
keep talking about
class,
memories.
and it's been really sweet. And I think not just them; they are just representations of the class of 2024. But it's been really sweet to see God just really transform not just you individually, but also your friends, your community. And you've laid legacies that will speak for years to come of our students being like, the things that you said, we are not just our only class. We are for everyone here. Like, we're going to be a place that invests and shows up and is consistent in our faith. Like, that is what the culture is, and that has a lot to do with you and the classes that came before you. And so I am grateful for how you've really let God lean in and just kind of like transform you guys from the beginning to now. I remember when you guys were shorter than me, and now you guys are taller than me. You know what I mean? Like, it's been such a really cool thing just to see how God's moved in your lives.
Thank you. Well, speaking on the class of 24, we are thankful for you guys
no,
too.
not
We love
ready.
you guys.
You guys,
We love you.
we are thankful for you guys being there every Wednesday and just big smiles on you guys' faces and always being there for us. So thank you.
Appreciate
We
we
love
receive
you
it.
guys.
I'm really trying not to cry right now.
Class of 2024, everyone. So good. But we're proud of you guys. And for those who are listening, we hope that you heard from two people, not from adults,
Yes.
from two people who are finishing out their senior year, who are saying this was worth it
Yeah.
to
It
enter
was,
in
yeah.
and to have an abiding walk with Jesus
Yes.
as high schoolers and the benefits that they've seen and that they reaped from that.
Yeah.
Really sweet.
Ooh, well, with that being said, we need to cut because
Yeah,
I'm
we
going to
do.
start bawling. So
Absolutely.
we will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Well StudentCast. As always, don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends about us. For more information about the Well Student Ministries, visit thewellcommunities.org/students.